This show is a member of the Sorgatron Media Podcast Network. Find out more at sorgatronmedia.com. This show is brought to you by Slice on Broadway, supporting Pittsburgh podcasting with the perfect pepperoni pizza. Production services by Sidekick Media Services. And listeners like you, supporting us at patreon.com/AwesomeCat.
I'm getting awesome, you're getting awesome, we're getting awesome, yeah, that's what I said now. I'm getting awesome, you're getting awesome, we're getting awesome, yeah, that's what I said.
It's time to get geeky, get awesome. It is the AwesomeCast. I am Mike Sorg at Sorgatron on the Twitter here in the Sorgatron Media Studios in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, ready to talk tech and geeky things with a wonderful, wonderful crew with us this afternoon. There's the light. I'm still, it's summer. I don't know. Anyways, with us, first of all, from the Big D Dormont, PA, from Studio C, it is John Chichilla.
How's it going? I'm wondering now that you're saying like good afternoon, good evening, like in the fall when it's like dark outside, does that mean it's good night when we start off the show?
Most everybody listening.
Is it all based on light or is it based on time?
I don't know. I listen, man. I'm already still screwy from time zones last month. Okay, so time is a construct. But he's a gadget guru with Big Bank International, Esquire, and our tech guru expert for the show. Also, our social media expert on the show and Hello Kitty expert is Katie Dudas, the Dudders.
Hi.
Hi.
I almost want to bust into my song again. I like to eat apples and bananas.
Yeah, I asked for a quick sound check because we're having a little bit of audio problems with her last week, and she just busts out this song out of nowhere. I need to put it on Patreon or something. So, how you doing, Katie?
Can we make that a ringtone? Would that be good?
Yes.
There you go. Do we still do that anymore? I mean, dude. I don't know. How do you put them on the phone? I don't know anymore. Like you used to have to buy them out of the App Store or something, didn't you? So I'm sure there's a way. I don't know. We're a tech show. We should know this, right? So, yeah. Partners in the chat room since watching Loki. What is time, anyways? Exactly. Timey-wimey on that. Also, you heard him there for a second. Mike Pound, your Uncle Crappy, was with us, the a digital editor at the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, and I've been enjoying popping in and checking out the PG Feed newsletter. Yes, I did subscribe since the last show, Mike.
I appreciate that. Thank you. I mean, if there's anything that we've learned in the last year and a half, is that time is basically meaningless.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, whether we're calling this, we can get on here and say good morning, even though it's 7 o'clock in the it didn't matter. Whatever makes you happy.
Did you find yourself checking yourself or say, hey, yeah, this is a thing we did every year, but then you check in your mind like, but we didn't last year. Like, did we just skip that? Is it just like an X out and we just
all of that stuff is like coming up on Facebook memories and on Time Hop now.
Yeah.
And so it's like you look at today and you look at last year and then you see all the stuff that you did before all this stuff happened, and I don't know if it's like, do you feel sad because you missed it? Do you feel well rested? I'm not sure.
I don't know
what the answer is.
I don't know. It's a big whammy with everything spinning up, so I'm still trying to get used to it, but enjoying it along the way. Also, we do have, that's why I love the live chat room when we do this. Dave Potter is in the chat, and he says make him an MP4 and save it to the phone and assign to a contact. That's it. MP4 or M4A? I feel like it might be, because I feel like MP4 is more of a video format there. But either way, that easy. So there you go. So I'm glad we had that answer not hanging out there.
You used to have to name the M4R. Like they were an MP4 or an MP3. It was like the extension was renamed.
That's right.
I don't know what they do. M4A.
I used to remember I used to have this memorized, the process where you single out a section of a song and then how you go back and save that and then
you used to be able to trim it in iTunes.
Yeah. Boy, it's been a long time since I've done that though. But I think you're right. It was a weird extension like M4R. That sounds right.
Well, there's your first tip of the day. with a question mark. But this is the AwesomeCast. We got a lot more coming up on here. Of course, you check out everything at awesomecast.com, where you can find all the links to all the past episodes and everything like that. Also, you can hit us up at the email address awesomecast@sorgatronmedia.com for comments and advertising opportunities. Tweet us at mayhem or at awesome. Damn it, on AwesomeCast. Follow the AwesomeCast Facebook page and group. A lot of great discussions happening on that group, and a few stories that we do have in the rundown from the week were actually submitted by others that are not on the show. And we also have hit us up on the on the YouTube page as well, and the Sorgatron Media Twitch, because all of those we go live every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern with this show, and you can also give us hot tips as we go too. And you can also subscribe to the AwesomeCast podcast on your favorite app, or you can look up the Sorgatron Media master feed to get this and other great shows like Fish Without Bait, Bardic Mystery Tours, Comic Book Pit, everything coming out of the Sorgatron Media Network and friends. So I definitely check that out if you like what's going on from some Pittsburgh state of mind here. Also, thank you to our audio partner at postindustrial.com, and thank you to our Patreon supporters at patreon.com/awesomecast. At the coffee club level, our friends Matt Lawler, John DeGore, John Carmen, Cynthia Klosky, and Scott McTaggart. And at the fan of the show level, Michael Fedor, pghmuseums.org, Professor Buzzkill, and Dave Ponder of the iPhoneography podcast. You guys can support the show too at patreon.com/awesomecast, and you will get a special clip this week of a hot dog man at the hot dog eating contest. There's a wrestling slant to it. I'm just going to put that there, too. But as we do have, Mike Pound is our, according to his Twitter, our resident chili dog connoisseur. Excuse me.
I think that's correct.
That's right. That's the official title, right?
Yes.
Yes. You got to put that little bit on it. So I've learned those kinds of accenting from Sawtooth Willie. So what makes a chili dog connoisseur? I'll have to ask that question first off here before we get to awesome things.
A lot of experience.
I see.
I try to make consistent. So the only variable really is cheese. Must be chili and onions, in addition to the dogs. And then you just kind of you have a sense of what is the dog like? Does it snap? Is it sausagey? Is it more kind of is it a softer thing? There are different styles of chili sauces. Detroit chili sauce is different from Coney Island chili sauce. And then you can get it in all kinds of crazy toppings too. But for the basics, and just for the sake of a comparison, you want to start with this just kind of simple hot dog, chili, onions, maybe cheese.
Damn.
What if the chili has onion, but most chilies have onions in it, don't they? Or some, I guess, don't. Because Coney Island doesn't. It's kind of like a more meaty, fine. Meaty,
and we're not really generally talking about chili like you would put in a bowl and eat, although you could. It's more of a chili sauce. So and some do have onions in it, but the snap of raw onion, in addition to everything else, I think really adds, and it is a necessity for me.
Wow. Well, there's our chili dog deep dive for you guys this week. That's fantastic. Well, let's bring it around.
I feel like I should dive in as somebody who's originally from the Newcastle area, home of hot dog chili.
Please do.
No, it's always fun trying to explain the difference between hot dog chili and actual chili, and when people think that you put literal chili on a dog and it's a totally different medium.
Well, and that's the cool thing, because a lot of the little towns, I mean, I pay attention to beer. That's one of the things I do professionally, and it used to be, and it's coming back to the thing where every kind of decent sized city has its own brewery. Many have their own little kind of mom and pop chili or hot dog shop.
Mm-hmm.
And I have not been, that is a failing on my part. I have not been to the one in Newcastle. So, I mean, Katie, if you've got, I know they're owned by different families or something. There was some kind of weird drama like that, but whatever recommendations you have to make for Newcastle chili dogs, I will listen anytime.
Coney Island, suggest as always Coney Island. I would suggest not the one downtown. Because, well, at least growing up, there was a little bit question involving hygiene with the one downtown.
That's not unusual for these places, and it's okay. adds to the
rumor was
character.
like the stacking of the hot dogs up the arm added to the flavor.
Okay.
But...
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so not maybe not the one downtown, but we can. Okay, we're good. We will before the summer's over. I guarantee you, I will get up there and try.
I am pleased that there is a Brighton hot dog shop that opened, I believe, right between Katie and I out here. So at Noblestown. So that's been nice. That's a nice spot. All right, let's get back around the tech then. So, Chill, let's head up your awesome thing of the week. And Crappy, I think you might have posted this later down in the doc as well.
I did, and this is just kind of the big news of the day. And but John, go, you take.
So Nintendo announced today, they finally announced their next Switch model, which will be launching October 8th for a mere $350. The thing that kind of bummed me out was they did not make any mention of the rumor that we're going to get 4K mode on the dock. So a lot of people, I know my brother-in-law included, we're looking forward to being able to dock, plug into the TV, and go into a 4K mode. That has not been mentioned. There was also mention that the Nintendo Switch does not have new CPU or more RAM. But the one thing it does have is a larger screen. It's going to be OLED, and the built-in storage is 64 gig instead of 32.
Okay.
So I'm interested to see how this plays and if we get any additional information. It is slightly heavier at like 0.71 pounds instead of 0.66 pounds. That's not the big deal to me. The bigger deal to me is the screen. I'm interested. I did not see any write-ups, Mike, maybe you did, about battery life. I'm guessing based on OLED. Hopefully it'll get better battery life. You will still be able to use your existing Joy-Cons, which is nice for someone like me that use it. We have, I think, we have 3 sets of Joy-Cons around the house and controller. Coming in at the $350 price point isn't bad. They said that they're not going to discontinue creation of the older devices. I'm guessing we'll sell out what stock we have, but we'll find out on that one.
Mm-hmm.
But this will be in time for the holiday season. They've already started, and it's worrisome to me, talking about shortages. Even Nintendo commented that supply chains are constrained from a chip CPU perspective. So I guess we'll have to see what stock looks like on October 8th. But much like existing Switches, I'm sure these will fly right off the shelves and be constrained in perpetuity. So the other thing that I thought was pretty cool, and I've run into this problem when being on vacation or whatnot, I do take my Switch and I use the little kickstand to put it like on a table and play with a controller. This will have, to me, it sounded like more of a Surface Pro. If you're familiar with Microsoft Surface Pro, it's a single all the way along the back kickstand that will be multiple articulations, I guess you could call it, where it's not going to be locked into like 2 or 3 positions. You're going to have the full swing, but it'll be a tight hinge.
I dig it. So as somebody who is, not that I'm clamoring to get a Switch right now, I got plenty to play with Game Pass and NVIDIA right now. Should I wait, if I get the inkling that I finally want to get a Switch, should I just wait till October 8th?
I would wait for October 8th if for no reason to find a better priced prior version.
Okay.
Based on the fact that it's not getting a new CPU and no more memory, if you're okay with the smaller screen or going, I know a lot of people that primarily play in the dock mode,
right,
and they rarely take it out of the dock, except for like a vacation or going away for a short stint. It might be in your best interest. What I would do is I would recommend getting like the Rev B or whatever they called it. Mm-hmm. They did come out with the updated device. It was probably a year or 2 ago that did get better battery life.
But also, we're talking Nintendo, so that doesn't mean the other versions are actually going to get cheaper, right?
I don't. I would think that at least on the secondhand market they would.
Like you'll save $20.
If not, I would expect. I can't imagine these sitting right next to.
Maybe not at Walmart, but like
another device
if they're even on the shelves, right? So I mean, it'll be interesting to see what it is. So either way, I should wait till October before finally diving into the Switch area of things, probably.
Definitely.
So,
and I would not get. And this is just my own personal opinion. I would not get the Switch Lite.
I do not intend to. I don't like the idea of not being able to dock it because I've considered it just for traveling or something. But it's like, I got.
What's the dock and some of the games require, like those. It doesn't have the removable Joy-Cons, so you are limited in some of the games you can play. Not many, but some.
You are. I got myself a Lite, and was. I mean, it got me through the pandemic. Basically, that was a great thing to have, and that's what the thing that was intriguing with this. Just the limited number of improvements. The screen, I think, is going to be a big deal, and the 7-inch OLED should be gorgeous. But I'm not. I weigh that. Is that enough to get me to shell out $350? And I'm not sure if it is or not.
I don't think
I do. I must be able to use the dock and kind of expand the capabilities that way. And that would be a big step. But I mean, if the regular Switch is available at a slightly lower price, then maybe that's the answer to that question. But that was the big thing I was curious about, because it seems like everybody mentioned everything that I read. Everyone mentions the new kickstand. That's better. John, I did see one thing about improved battery life. I don't remember the specifics on it. But I'm not sure that's for the improvements that they're offering. Just as a consumer, I'm like, I'm not sure if that's gonna be enough to get me to shell out that money or not.
I feel like, yeah, and again, I don't think Nintendo needs to shell out updates. Like they're going to trickle things because they're doing very well with things, right? Like there's no pressure to say, hey, put out a bunch of new features to really kind of sell this. They know people will do it anyways. The only thing that ever kept me, because I've actually considered getting a Lite, and then it's like, well, I can get another Switch later down the line. But from my understanding, it's not easy to transfer saves and games between the units, correct?
That's gotten better for the most part from what I've heard and read. I've never had to transfer the saves, but I've heard that's gotten better when I think in one of the updates, if you're paying, and it's relatively low cost, I can't remember, is it like $12 a year? It's something ridiculously low for their online.
Oh, it's like $20 a year. No, that's a fantastic price for what you're getting. Also, but also it's a system that's not nearly as robust as Xbox Live. So
yeah, there's obviously no voice and things like that. But I've heard many of the games have moved to the cloud save model.
Okay.
And they do have, I think, a tool that lets you move between.
See that,
Switches
like
now.
I wouldn't mind buying a cheap model just to get into Switch playing, right? And like the Lite, and be able to migrate later to the TV version. Like that's something I considered, but again, just looking at how difficult that looked, it just seems like or what if you have multiples in the house or something because you got kids and you want multiples, just like having a Game Boy, right? So I mean, it's kind of a high end. I mean the Lite's like what, $200, right? So, but I don't know, maybe that does. If the Lite runs down to like $150, like that might be worth getting just to get into the game with it. So, but no, worth looking at. Katie, as you are the Animal Crossing expert. That's what I should have said earlier. What are you thinking about this? You got your Switch like around pre-pandemic time because you had, I don't know, other things going on. So
yeah. I lucked out. I was one of the lucky ones that got a Kohl's bundle with a carrying case and Mario Party because I ordered it before the world shut down and you can still get bundles.
Yeah.
But I'm not interested. I mean, like, as of right now, to me, the options, the upgrades aren't enough for me to consider buying a new one at this point, because mine is still doing what it needs to do and what I needed to do. And I play mostly on my TV. And so like, and when I do travel with a smaller screen, it's not that bad, and it doesn't happen often enough that I would be like, oh, I wish I had a bigger screen.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm good with where I'm
at. Excellent. So, Katie, actually, let's roll to you for your awesome thing of the week up next.
All right. So mine is not a digital, not really a techie thing, but something that has really helped me in my recovery. About 3 weeks ago, I had what's called a latissimus dorsi flap surgery. And long story short, they essentially took part of my back and put it on my chest to do some repairs for the, post-breast cancer surgery reconstruction. And in that process, I had to have multiple drains. And I think I've mentioned this in the show before, where there's essentially a drain that helps my body get rid of this excess fluid. One of the annoying things about having a drain is wearing clothes, because you have to have something that has these drain pockets. So this drain is not like, you can't have this thing tugging on your body, because it's very painful, because you have a tube that goes up and inside. So something that was gifted to me by 412 Thrive, which is a local breast cancer group, are called these pink pockets, which is look like this little baggie here. And they're specifically, they talk about being for like post mastectomy, breast surgeries, tummy tuck, back, chest surgery, like anything you would have a drain for, you could use these pink pockets. And what it is, it's really this simple idea that's super cool. It's this pocket that you pull off these little sticky tabs, and you stick it inside of your shirt. Like the shirt I'm wearing right now is not specifically made for drains, but I turned it into a drain shirt with this nice little pocket. And it holds things real, like things don't bounce around in there. There's no tugging. So it's really nice. And you can convert pretty much any piece of clothing that you have. Specifically, like in my case, with these drains, I cannot lift my arm above my shoulder. So everything has to be buttoned down. So any sort of button down shirt I could convert into a drain shirt, and or sweater or whatever. And they're really, it's really ingenious how these work. And they're very, very simple, but like definitely a game changer. I'm not stuck. It's been 90 degrees here, as you probably have noticed, and very humid. And my drain shirts that I have are these gray short sleeve shirts that are not necessarily super lightweight, but I was able to convert the shirt that I picked up on Amazon, sleeveless shirt, into a drain shirt with these pink pockets. And I just think they're the coolest thing.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So you can check it out. Good.
I was just wondering, so you were saying like it is the adhesive, is it reusable or?
Yeah, it's sticky enough that I have pulled it off and repositioned it multiple times. They're
nice.
supposed to be washable too, but I have not tried to wash mine. But I've pulled it off whenever I've changed shirts or whatever. But yeah, the adhesive is nice. You can pick it up and reposition it, because that's nice, because it's kind of hard to judge the first time you put it in a shirt, like how high the pocket should be. So I was grateful that I could peel it off and put it back on.
Very cool.
Nice.
Nice.
So you can check it out. Is that pinkpockets.com I'm looking at here?
Yeah, I believe so. I think it's
pink-pockets.com.
Yes.
So put that out there. So I feel like I should not. I'm really worried if I remove the hyphen. So now I'm thinking about it. Let's see what else we got here. Mike, you got one. You got an awesome thing of the week.
This is as I was thinking about this, I'm like, oh man, this is definitely grumpy old guy territory. But
here we go.
Sorry. If you call my cell phone, and I don't know your number, I'm not going to answer. And you will hear my voicemail says, I'm sorry, if this is a legitimate call, please leave a message and I'll get right back to you. But I get so many garbage calls on my phone that it just doesn't make sense for me to pick up.
I have a similar thing, and my mother texted me and asked me if I was okay. I'm like, why? She's like, I listened to your phone message, And I'm like, I've made that like 2 years ago. Well, like, do I sound really depressed during it or something? So I guess she never goes to my voicemail. But anyways,
okay.
So, but that's the same thing.
I totally get that. If I don't have your number already, I'm not picking up. That is all there's to it.
Mm-hmm.
And that is, I love that this is the technology behind this is called Stir/Shaken, because robocalls drive you to drink. It's true. On June 30th, the end of last month, so last week, a new FCC rule took effect that requires major carriers to confirm that the phone numbers we see on our devices are the same numbers that the calls originated from. And this is a step. It's not going to single-handedly solve this problem, but it does give us a tool to help a little bit. I love this, the Stir/Shaken acronym, and it stands for Secure Telephone Identity Revisited and Signature-Based Handling of Asserted Information Using Tokens. That is Stir/Shaken, and those are the two standards that are involved with this. So say, do you remember several years ago, USA Prime Credit, My Name Peggy? Do you remember those commercials? I think it was for Discover Credit or something. And you call Peggy, and or Peggy calls you, and it's, the whole thing is really shady. So say Peggy, my name Peggy, is calling you from a barn in North Dakota, with a credit card offer or something. In the past, Peggy could spoof a number to make it look like it was coming from, like I used to get calls from Butler all the time, or supposedly from Butler all the time, because that's where my number originated. And so if you think a familiar number, it's local-ish, and maybe that'll be enough for me to pick up the call. If I don't pick it up and I block the caller, I'm not actually blocking Peggy. I'm just blocking whatever spoofed number that the caller had picked to show me. With this change, my carrier, AT&T, and all the big guys have to do this immediately. They have to show me the actual number where this came from. So using the protocol that I use now that I mentioned before, I don't recognize the number. I'm not going to pick it up, and I'm going to see that it's a number that I can safely ignore and that I can safely block. And then until Peggy figures out something else, that's going to fix the problem for a little bit. Smaller carriers, and I think the cutoff was fewer than 100,000 customers. They have a couple years to implement this. Although I read that the FCC is actually thinking about moving that deadline up a little bit. And do keep in mind that this does not help with. I mean, we all got tons of political calls, especially last year. I'm sure those are protected. They are permitted. Informational calls, from like the local government or your school district saying stuff is closed or whatever. Those are still legit robocalls, and you will still get those. This won't solve that issue. But I love the idea that we have this option now, and it's going to help a little bit anyway in cutting down on some of the garbage that clutters my phone and clutters your phone and everybody's phones. Yeah,
I do. I'm constantly astonished at how much I don't use my phone as a phone. But I mean, it's just been the nature of it. It's just one of those like, I put on my away message, don't call me, text me, or email me, right? So because calls have become worthless, and I feel bad for the people that still feel a need or need to, for whatever business reason, to answer every phone call, because then you just get stuck with these all the time, and now you're an active thing in somebody's database, and you're going to get even more calls. So because you're one of the answers.
There's a generational thing in here, and I'm still I'm one of the old folks who still doesn't mind talking on the telephone. I'm always surprised by the number of the younger folks like I work with or friends who absolutely hate talking on the telephone. And it's fine. this will, for me anyway, this will make the actual telephone part of my telephone a little more useful for right now.
Excellent.
That's what I'm excited about.
Excellent. So go check out something that's, you should see the change coming up soon. So
the rule took effect on the 30th, on the end of the last day of June. So I would think, if you don't notice a difference right away, and you're still getting these, block a few numbers and see if that cuts down on what's coming in.
See what happens. Good.
The other thing that I've done too, and when I started to get proliferated with the spam robocalls, the first few I was trying to, I wouldn't pick up, but then they wouldn't leave a voicemail, which was rare because normally you get some kind of garbage. Hey, is your car warranty up or whatever?
Yes.
And a couple of them, the hang-ups, I would call back. And because it was someone else's spoofed phone number, then they would pick up and I would be like, you just called me. No, I didn't. Yeah, you did. Who's this? So that makes me wonder, like probably in another week or two, if I get one, I will try to call the number back and see, why were you calling me?
I did 2 different times. I had people left kind of angry messages for me, accusing me of bugging them on the phone.
Yeah, that's fun too.
Because my number was spoofed.
Yep.
So, and one time I did, I called someone back and said, I'm really sorry, but I'm not Peggy. I did not call you. and this is what's going on. But yeah, if this new FCC rule cuts down on that a little bit, I will be a less grumpy old guy than I usually am.
Excellent. Well, I got some good technology that includes cell phones.
You have really cool technology.
For my, you got to see some of it today.
Gorgeous.
So we've been doing a lot of live streaming as part of Sidekick and media and IndieWrestling.us and everything, including we did a live stream in Brooklyn this weekend with the Polyam Cult party. And of course Warrior Wrestling is going to be on pay-per-view here in a couple weekends, and then some other events. Actually, I'll be live in a tent again up in Michigan this weekend. We've had good luck with the internet when it comes to some of those. Every once in a while it gets a little shifty. I mean, I talked about it in the live streaming panel we did with Work Hard about a month ago about the nightmare scenarios when it comes to this, and I've always been a big proponent of finding some way to do better with this, not just a hotspot. I know, Katie, you saved us one time with a hotspot that worked tremendously well when we were in Shanksville at the Flight 93 Memorial for a last-minute gig that we were trying to duct tape together last year. I think we literally had a daze. Like, it was a September 11th thing. We got notice on the 10th to do it. But things like that. And I'm always big on a backup kind of situation. I mean, we've seen the internet go down here. We're on Fios and it's mostly reliable. Knock on wood, and I'm looking to see what we can do with that. So I got this thing. It's called a Live View Solo, and the video that Mike was talking about, I'm going to pull that up here for you guys on video. So you see the little pack there. So the idea is, and I've used Live Views before, the unit will take multiple connections and bond them together to make one strong connection. This is a technology we used. I was doing some work with Impact Wrestling. They were doing at the time, this is probably 2017, 2018, and they were doing these Twitch streams from local independent professional wrestling, and of course they're owned by Anthem Sports up in Canada, so they got some resources. Plus, I mean, this is Impact Wrestling. They were number 2 wrestling promotion 10 years ago, right? So they come with this box, and it's like a professional thing. I've seen the same thing when I'm on these Fight Pass projects with another operator, and it in a room where I couldn't get any reception. There was nothing we could plug into but a DSL line, and it just picked up on a couple of the cell signals that worked in that building, linked them together, and the thing went out fine with no issues both times that we've used it. for this. So I'm like, well, this is something I need to get. There is a lower end version. Here's a little bit of the video here. So the big thing we were testing, Mike, you tuned in for a minute. The big thing was this thing starts on the Wi-Fi in our studio and then has cell modems connected to it, 2 cell modems. And as we walked away, you could see it. I could see it. I'm looking at the stats as we're walking. And I'm trying to show you on the phone, but it doesn't really work with the glare because I wasn't looking in the viewfinder. But you can see the data shift live from us using the Wi-Fi to the cell signals as we walked away from the studio. And ideally, what's going to happen, like you could do like this, have a camera. Like literally all I had was, hold on, I'm going to show it. So I had this camera, which is our standard, $800 Canon Vixia. We use them a lot for the wrestling. And then, oh no, all my cords are mixed up now. Connected to this guy. No. To this guy is our live view, and there's the modems on the front. So this is not for the faint of the heart. This is the low end. This is a low end of the high end when it comes to this. This is about I think this is about a $2,000 unit. And I'm not going to tell you what the subscription is for it. But when you do get the subscription, and if you can afford it, it gives you unlimited data. Like I don't have to worry about these things going over data. I'm so glad I waited because I looked this up early on. You had to pay per gigabyte for your streams. Yes, like 2017 when this first came out. But obviously technology's changed, plans have changed, and it's all kind of set there. I got an SDI, I got an HDMI, I got a micro SD, which I believe will do recording, which will be nice because then I can offload that. That's the other thing is this is going to offload like what we're doing off of the computer itself to something like this. And then, we did several years ago a project for Maker Faire down there at the convention center. And we had done a roaming camera that was connected through a tear deck wireless to the corner of the convention center. And I was there on like an ATEM full rig on a cart basically, and they had a microphone connected to the camera, and that's how we did our live stream. You could do a live stream with this thing's clipped on my belt, a camera that has a microphone attached, go to an event. Let's say we're covering like Three Rivers Arts Fest, and just walking around and going live on Facebook to have on the spot interviews or something like that, or concerts or something. So like that's the kind of idea there. It clips onto pretty nicely to that, but also for live switching we can put it in for something like this. Nice backup kind of situation. And again, we when we're working with clients that we are, it's one thing to be like, okay, we're going to live stream this high school game or something. You can have the hotspot and that's fine, right? But when you're on like client things and the thing needs to work, like this is the kind of thing that we're looking at here. So even something where we have a hardline Ethernet, I plan on using this thing as a backup in case, again, somebody like trips on the line or something, right? The internet goes down. Oh no, there goes your pay-per-view. There's nothing we can do. Good luck, right? Versus, oh no, somebody tripped over the cord. That's fine. It's going to fall back to this kind of situation, right? So, or maybe you have a lot of weak connections and it'll bond all of them together. Because the big thing is, if you use a hotspot, that technology or Wi-Fi, that technology is not good for video streaming by itself. It wavers. You can have drops and everything like that. And this is like some added oomph to sort of push that. So Mike, I know you enjoyed watching that earlier.
When I watched about a half hour after you posted it, so I wasn't watching live. Mm-hmm. But the thing that was cool was you're sort of narrating as you walk up the street, and you say, okay, we've officially lost the Wi-Fi from the studio, and you notice nothing on the stream. There's no degradation of the signal. It looks as pretty as it did when you started up and we're still standing inside, and the dog was nipping at your ankles because he wanted to go outside. That is a fun tool, and in your business that would be really, really helpful to have that kind of solid backup. Man, I'm envious. I want one.
This is something that I was going to buy a year ago. Like legit, this is something that was scheduled for purchase about a year ago, like this time last year. But with how the schedule went and everything, but of course, COVID shut us down. Like there was so much we were gearing up for, and now we're just kind of starting over with it. And this was part of it. It's going to be a big key to something that we're doing here. A lot of the things that we're doing here are coming up here in the several months. And it's a nice backup. And I'm looking at like again that kind of one person team kind of thing, 2-person team. You know, I mean, if I could just go out there with an interviewer and cover an event, you know, that's something we can do, and that's kind of a nice thing. Or even take this thing. I'm even looking at hacks that I could take this thing, roam around, and send it to somebody that's live switching like I am here in the studio. Like I could sit here and deploy a couple of these to an event and switch to them, pull them in over a server, and just start, you know, queuing things. You know, like we could go to the studio. Think about that, man. We could go to the studio. Like, let's say we're covering Three Rivers Art Fest. We can go to the studio. You have your host talking about what's going on. All right, Bill's on the floor talking to this painting guy that's making sunflowers or whatever, and we're going to cue to him, and we see him all set up and everything. Okay, they're done. Back to the studio. Hey,
someone's watching the main stage. Wow,
that's what I mean. That's what happens at Replay FX with multiple stages, and they have about 3 Twitch feeds, and they're able to pull everything over the network. As long as they're on the network running vMix, you can pull any camera that's on there. You now separate that, and you don't need to be on the same network for an event. So, which just expands the possibilities that you can do on high-end events. You know, I mean, we did this with AutoDrive, where we were using the internal network and putting cameras in different places across the track. But there was already a network that existed there, or we were sending stuff over wireless bridges that our friends with the scoring team were setting up. So I mean, but then now you have like, well, do I have a cell signal? And I got 2 chances at a cell signal. You know, we're good to go, and it's going to solve. That's going to make things a lot more flexible and a lot more interesting on things that we can execute here in the coming months and years. So
that's awesome. That's a great tool.
So that's LiveView. LiveView's got multiple options. I said they're kind of pricey. So this is if you have the budget for it. So you know, these are some for real. I like to say low. I like to say low end of the high end. So, but you can check that out. And I did share the video over on the AwesomeCat group as well, if you want to kind of check out the quality for yourself. I'm happy with it. I mean, it's better than, you know, even doing like a cell phone stream. Like the camera is not going to be as good as something with a full lens. You know, like even those Vixias are. And the reason I love these Vixias, a tip I got from one Alex Lindsay, is if you want a camera under $1,000, get a Canon, because those lenses, and you pull an HDMI out of it, you're not doing all that crunchy stuff that's happening on the SD card that'll make it look not as great. You're going straight from the lens into the HDMI into this box that's going to do this awesome signal. So it's some really cool options. So
I gotta save my money.
You gotta save your money
because I'm not getting this from my employer. That's
no. Well,
yeah,
we'll have some very fair rental rates. I'll just say that. So from Sidekick Media Services, if there's ever the opportunity.
Okay. I'll keep that in mind.
Just saying. But anyways, you know what's also awesome and travels well, at least in the Pittsburgh area, our good friends at Slice on Broadway. 4 locations. My mouse isn't working. There it is. Beachview, Carnegie, East End, and the North Hills. New York City style. Yins are made. And been supporting Pittsburgh podcasting with the perfect pepperoni pizza for a decade now. So thank you to them. Check them out, sliceonbroadway.com. Please support the guys that support these shows in the podcasting world for a good long time here at Sorgatron Media, our Beachview original right up the street here. So go check them out, sliceonbroadway.com. Okay, what else we got here? What do we got for time here? I feel like we went real long on everything.
It's all the chili dogs.
It's all the chili dog talk, apparently.
There was some chili dog discussion.
Got us carried away. I want to touch on at least some of the submitted stories that we did have here for the week. real quick. First of all, Riz plays games. I heard about this story on another podcast, and I got a kick out of it. And as a resident Pokemon goers here in this chat, so apparently American troops, of course, are pulling out of Afghanistan, and they're leaving their Pokemons behind. So there were gyms on the bases for the Afghanistan bases, and apparently the Pokemon Go was a pretty good pastime for the soldiers that were stationed there. So, of course, they have left, but now they have undefended gyms that are just sitting there, because I don't think they're going to be accessible to the public necessarily. But although there is a quote here that is in this Kotaku article, I'm sure somewhere in Afghanistan, some kid is bragging about how he took control of an American Pokemon gym. So there you go.
I'm just thinking, what's the limit? And I didn't think there was one. You get in-game currency for every 24 hours that you hold a gym.
That's great.
I mean, they'll never have to put money into Pokemon ever again.
No, yeah. Presuming, I mean, until these get, like, somebody else gets stationed there, like local or something like that. I don't know how that goes with old bases, old foreign bases that we would be stationed at. But I thought that was a fun one. Some positive news out of that. So, I mean, other than everybody coming home, obviously, but yeah, Pokemoning around the world. And this was a story that was shared by both Dave Podner and Mad Mike, actually, I believe, tagged this as well. So this is an app called Brickit Lego Ideas. It's in the Apple App Store. Brickit. Rebuild your Lego. So here's the cool thing that happens with this. You pour out your Lego bricks, you scan it with your camera, and then it'll tell you what you can build with the bricks that you have. It'll even
this is mind-blowing to me. It's absolutely mind-blowing. I love it.
Brick recognition. It'll even say, hey, it's easy to find the bricks. We'll show you where they are in your pile. What? And full on, like, that's the Lego diagrams and everything. It's crazy. So it says so here's the list. Scan your pile of bricks. Brickit will show you what you can build with them. Assemble ideas with the help of instructions. Find bricks by looking at their location in the pile video. Wow. We do have on our Monday wrestling show, Mad Mike builds a lot of Lego sets. He's currently about done with the Daily Bugle Tower, the insane one, for Spider-Man. Wow. Yeah, dude, he's got that. He's got the big Batmobile. He's got the full-sized Hogwarts castle that, like, all the stuff moves and everything. He's got a pretty substantial Lego situation.
This is the reason this is mind-blowing to me is people of my age didn't have there weren't, like, really sets of stuff that you could build. You just had kind of these assortments of the bricks, and to be able to dump this out and scan it with your phone and see, what the possibilities are. Also to help find specific pieces. That's just incredible. This is an awesome thing. And I want to go buy like a 1,000-piece assortment just to play.
See what happens,
because it's been a while.
I have my old Legos somewhere, and it's just kind of a bucket of Legos. Like, I don't know how many of them were sets or either. Like, I know I had like a police van or something, right? But not much other than that, and just build random stuff.
We had
nothing that looked like anything. I gotta be honest.
Just old cardboard box. I mean, the boxes that they came in, they got destroyed. Everything ends up in one gigantic box. So that's when this would have been really helpful.
Absolutely. I'm looking at Podner here. He's saying he's thinking of the multiple streams from we were talking before. He's talking about runners from inside the marathon or a 10-mile event. Would be something to do. I don't know if I would strap this to a person. Well, I guess you could strap this to a person with a GoPro. That would make a lot of sense. So,
that would work.
That would work.
Backpack would not be too uncomfortable.
If anybody out there wants to implement some interesting ideas, we can have a discussion. psychicmediaservices.com. But I think we have some lot of cool things we can do. All right, I got 2 more stories I want to hit real quick. First of all, you guys remember Turntable?
Vaguely.
Anybody? No, you don't remember?
Why do I remember? Why do I remember?
Chichilla, Dudas? Do you? No. Oh man,
not really.
I thought those big are internal circles here. Well, it is back. It's the app where where you had rooms and people could step up to DJ, and you would respond, and there's a chat room, and then the chats would pop up above somebody's head. You can hop in and throw your playlist in there, and people give you a thumbs up, thumb down to kick you off the stage or not. So it was a pretty fun web app. Like I know like Norm Hulsman had a room on here for a while, and that crew and everything. I remember
that would be good.
Involved there, and we would have a blast with that. But it is back. It is now. I thought there were two separate versions that were like one was web and one was an app, but they seem to be open together over at tt.fm, and you can get the links to it. You do have to, when you sign up, it uses a phone number to sign up, or you can use your email. What I thought was kind of interesting, and you have to ask which provider to use. And I haven't gone. I think you have to have an account. Yeah, you do have to have an account for either Spotify or Apple Music.
Okay.
So, and I don't know if that works with the free version of Spotify. I signed in with the Apple Music since I had one handy with the Apple One account. So that's it. Since, but it's set to go. It didn't seem to be terribly occupied when I checked earlier today. But once again, I'm sure middle of the day and stuff. It's probably not nearly as occupied as it was several years ago when this was starting up here. So I'm trying to sign in and see what I can do, but I need to get a code from my text, and it does not come through very quick on these things. So, but I don't know. It is supposed to be a social music listening. I mean, is this something you guys see yourselves hopping back in on?
I could do that.
I'd give it a whirl just to see what was going on in there.
See what's going on. There's not a whole lot on the rooms right now, but please sign in. Oh no, I'm in a temporary beta thing. So, but I'm sure like a Saturday night this is going to be rocking, or even at night in general probably. So. And one last thing I want to touch on, Dudders, you got big news at the bottom of this that's got me very excited.
Ooh, yeah. Actually, the best part is I heard it from somebody, Mr. Pound, in my email this morning that was from the PG. This wasn't even the good stuff. This was just normal stuff. It's definitely a good thing. The Anthrocon is coming back. In 2022, back to Pittsburgh, which we all very much love Anthrocon and seeing the furries come to town. And to be honest, I was trying to pick an article to talk about this, and the Post-Gazette's article was the most well-written of the articles, because it was not just the statements that, hey, we'll be back in Pittsburgh, but it talked about, like, look, they talked about how they're excited they're about the return, and that what it does, it's a yearly boon for downtown businesses and donates a portion of its profits to a local charity or organization. And they talk about how great this is for Pittsburgh, whereas opposed to a lot of the other places don't take Anthrocon very seriously. News outlets take Anthrocon very seriously, and the good it does and what it does for the individuals attending and for us in the city. And so, yes, I very much appreciated this article was so well written, and I'm very excited to see Anthrocon returning next year.
I am absolutely. That's why I included it in PG Feed today. I am absolutely stoked to see it coming back, and it is nice. We've had internal discussions about this. Like at some point, it's not a weird thing. People just that whole angle. I don't know who is actually shocked by this anymore, but apparently that is still a thing. And what you should be looking at is what it does for Pittsburgh. And there's a definite there's a financial benefit. The convention center's full, the hotels are full, but it's just also so much damn fun. These are great people to interact with. They enjoy being here as much as we enjoy seeing them. And I have complete admiration for anyone who would wear a full fursuit in Pittsburgh at the beginning of July. I think I referred to them as our favorite overdressed friends in the newsletter. But it absolutely is a great thing that they're coming back on so many levels, and to question that it makes no sense anymore. Just stop, people. It's fun. Enjoy it.
Absolutely, it was so much, so much excitement that without the first, because it's 2 years in a row. I'm like, what do I usually do on July the 4th? Oh, right, I go down and see the Anthrocron parade. And when I was walking down Fremont Street in Vegas a couple weeks ago, there was just randomly a furry coming down the street. So I was very excited and had to get a picture of it, of course. So, yeah, we've had a lot of fun with the furries in the past as well. Oh, there it is. I found it. There you go. How much do we love the furries? Here's a video of Katie hugging the furries from 2017, actually. There's the parade and everything. There's Katie getting pictures with everybody. So I just took a lot of video of you taking selfies, actually, during this. I noticed. So,
perfect.
It was July 1st that year. I have a lot of facts in this video. Wow, this is a really well done video we did back then. So I'm sure we just shot it with the phones and stuff. And yeah, again, just up through the cultural district. I love the dog bowl specials that the one pizza place has, and they have all kinds of fantastic themed shirts and everything going on. So. But no, it'll be great to have them back again. So that's so Pittsburgh. Somehow that's Pittsburgh, but it is.
It is.
So
it is.
I love it.
Well, as your video said, they've been here since every year since 2006.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it is absolutely a Pittsburgh thing.
Fantastic.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. Well, with that, hey, Mike, thank you so much for joining us again on the show.
I am happy, as always, to be here. And anytime you want me to come back, I will be happy to. I know we've all been getting back to normal. There will be beer shows very soon.
I was just gonna say
they're coming.
And
I have a lot of catching up to do.
We didn't talk about beer at all this episode. That's crazy.
I've got.
There you go.
This is a nice double IPA from Bearded Iris in Nashville.
We'll have to invite you out to the beer and wrestling show we're doing in September.
You will have to do that, yes.
Yes, there's right over here in Green Tree. It's the week after whatever they're calling Fresh Fest this year, Barrel and Flow, I think, right? And then the weekend after, they're doing something in Green Tree where it's going to be a beer fest and live pro wrestling for the afternoon. So
I am so in.
I believe it's Brews and Bruises is what it's called. So.
Are there T-shirts? I need a T-shirt.
There's got to be T-shirts, right?
Okay.
Okay. And the roster they're putting together it's gonna be good wrestling too. It's not, we didn't just get a bunch of crazy local yokels like that you can call wrestling. There's some really good talent that I've seen on this card so far. So
totally in. I am totally in.
Awesome. Where can people check out? What should people be checking out on the Post-Gazette?
I would, as always, I would appreciate a subscription to PG Feed. That is our Monday through Friday curated morning newsletter, almost always written by me. It's nice that I have weekend events to write about now, because I wrote a weekly weekend events newsletter called That PG Weekend Thing all through the pandemic when there were no weekend events. So that one has just become a lot easier. And as I said, the Beer Me show will be back. I have a project to kind of finish up this month, but in August, the Beer Me show I will return, and all your Pittsburgh beer news and features, and I can't wait to get that started again.
There you go check it out. It's a nice the PG feed is a nice way to digest the news. Okay, so
I hope so. That's what I shoot for.
Yes, it's very Pittsburgh. It's very fun. So definitely go check that out. Chilla is at Chilla on the Twitters.
Sean Chichilla on the Facebooks. What I want to see, Uncle Crappy, is I want to see like a whole series of the perfect pairing of beer to chili dog set of episodes. Like, go to this place, get this chili dog, go to this place, get this beer, and you're set.
That's doable. The good, really good chili dog places typically serve lousy beer, and I think that's a requirement. But I you know, if we're able to carry stuff out, I think we can come up with some pretty good pairings. I think that would work.
Sounds good.
And I tried for the first time a hazy IPA
and
from Black Flag. And I'll be honest with you, I am not the connoisseur that you are, but I'm not a big IPA drinker, but based on the fact that it was Star Wars and it was called Nerf Herder, it was a very good beer. I highly recommend it.
Okay.
If you get a chance to give it a try.
I have not tried. I've seen that. I have not tried it. Hazy IPAs are typically a little easier for folks who don't appreciate that kind of style. Bitterness is a lot lower, so it's a easier thing to work through. So I'm glad you like that one. I will track it down and give it a shot.
There you go. Excellent. Katie, she's here too. The Dudas.
Yeah.
She's on the social medias.
I'm gonna buy pinkpockets.com for $2,400.
Oh, that's why we got a hyphen.
No.
Yeah.
Well, support pink-pockets.com so they can buy the .com. So I think that's the answer there. Jeez. Where can people find out updates with you over there?
Twitter is KDutters, Instagram is Kate Marie PGH, and then just Katie Dudas on Facebook.
There you go. We will be back again next week. I'm trying to think if there's anything to plug. A lot of things to plug over the wrestling side, but just stay tuned to the Sorgatron Media Master Feed. If you want to see what's going on there, that'll be spinning up. Of course. Wow, I'll be in Michigan this weekend for the last of the SAE events here for the season, I think. So looking forward to visiting Detroit area. Not Detroit. I'll be in the middle of the state, I guess. So I don't know.
Ann Arbor again?
No, not Ann Arbor.
Okay.
So I've been staying in Jackson, and this will be the second week in a row that I'm in Brooklyn. This time, Brooklyn, Michigan. For the NASCAR track, the Speedway, where we'll be doing the event on there.
Next time you're going to Ann Arbor, remind me, and I will drop off a can of red spray paint.
Well, I will be going through Ann Arbor, so and that is I've been to Ann Arbor like 2 or 3 times already. Not to mention being up in the area for the Formula event in Brooklyn, which is relatively close. And that is the first time I've visited Ann Arbor proper. So it's literally like I drop off on the highway and I'm on the University of Michigan North Campus, and that's where M City is, that we do the auto drive. So I never had a reason to venture into Ann Arbor, and finally
it's a great college town. I will admit that.
It does look fun.
There was many football related issues, but
of course, obviously, that's why I decided to take the picture and send it to you this time. I mean, I'm the one that got the picture with Dan Marino and sent it to my Buffalo Bills in-laws fans. So I mean, that's what we do. But no, there was like a bar with outdoor volleyball. It was weird. It was like the bar was wrapped around just people playing outdoor volleyball. It was wild stuff. So thank you everybody for joining us. This has been your awesome cast for this week. We'll see you guys next time. You've been our awesome audience. Have an awesome week. This show is a member of the Sorgatron Media Podcast Network. Find out more at sorgatronmedia.com.